There's a reason you feel this way, a quiet dissonance that hums beneath the surface of your achievements and your competence. A feeling that you've been wearing a costume tailored for someone much older, much sturdier. And tonight, in this quiet space, we're going to expose the root of it all, the hidden architecture of the psychology of a child who grew up too fast. Psychology fix. That invisible wound that drives you to be the strongest person in the room, while feeling like a lost child hiding in a fortress of your own making. Can you feel it? That subtle ache of a childhood you can't quite remember? A playfulness that feels forbidden? A deep-seated belief that your worth is tied not to who you are, but to what you can provide, to how well you can manage, to how little you ask for. You learned very early that the world was not a soft place, that needs were burdens, and that to be loved was to be useful. And so you built a self around that principle, a miniature adult in a child's body, and you've been living in that construction ever since, wondering why, in your quietest moments, you feel a profound and unnamed grief for a version of you that never got to be. Let's go deeper into this first layer, the why. The mind in its brilliant, desperate attempt to survive an environment that felt unpredictable or overwhelming, be it a parent's emotional absence, financial stress, or simply a world that demanded too much too soon, makes a crucial calculation. Authenticity is a liability, and childhood is a luxury you cannot afford. Your psyche's primary goal is safety, not happiness, and so it constructs a persona, the little caretaker, the tiny peacekeeper, the miniature problem solver, a version of you that is hyper-vigilant, emotionally regulated beyond your years, and fiercely independent, all to secure the love and stability every child deserves but fears is conditional. Pause. Notice what that just revealed in your body. A tightness in the chest, a shallow breath. That's the ghost of that little strategist still on duty. Ask yourself this now. What was the one thing you felt you couldn't be or couldn't show if you wanted to feel safe in your family? But here's the truth your mind has protected you from all these years. That survival strategy, once a lifesaver, has become a life sentence, a cage of your own design where you are both the warden and the prisoner. And the hidden emotional triggers are the echoes of that old world, showing up in your present life. The trigger of a partner's minor disappointment, which doesn't feel minor at all. It feels like the terrifying prelude to abandonment, hurling you back into a state of frantic problem-solving to regain control. The trigger of unstructured time, of a free Saturday with no agenda, which should feel like freedom, but instead feels like a terrifying void because you were never taught how to just be, only how to do. And in that stillness, the anxious hum of your inner child screams for a purpose, for a task, for something to prove your right to exist. The trigger of someone offering you unsolicited help, a simple act of kindness that feels like a profound insult, a declaration that you are not capable, that you are weak, activating that core childhood vow of I'll do it all myself, so no one can ever let me down. You've felt this before, haven't you? That bristling, that defensive pride that masks a deep, deep yearning to just let go, to be taken care of for once. What no one tells you is that these triggers are not flaws. They are signposts, pointing directly to the wounded, hurried child within, who is still running the show. And the path to breaking free isn't about silencing that child, but about finally listening to them, about giving them what they were so brutally denied. Let me tell you about Maya, a successful project manager in her mid-30s, who could orchestrate a multi-million-dollar launch with ease, but would find herself dissolved in tears, overwhelmed and paralyzed by a simple question from her partner. What do you want for dinner? It made no sense to her logical mind, this disproportionate reaction, until we traced it back to being 8 years old, standing in a grocery store, asking her depressed mother what they should have for dinner, and being met with a hollow, vacant stare and the words, "I don't care, you figure it out." In that moment, her childhood choice was made. Her own desires were too heavy a burden for her world to carry, and her role was to manage, to decide, to figure it out, forever. The weight of that single question in the present was the weight of 1,000 childhood decisions, all crashing down in the canned goods aisle of her adult life. Her transformation began not with a grand gesture, but with a single quiet admission in therapy. I'm tired of figuring it out. And that is our first doorway out of this labyrinth, our first weapon to reclaim what was lost, the weapon of emotional permission. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. It's that moment you feel the familiar surge of responsibility, the tightening in your gut when a task appears or a need is expressed. Instead of automatically launching into action, you simply name it. I am being triggered into my caretaker role. Step 2. Reframe the story. The old story is, if I don't do this, everything will fall apart. The reframed, truer story is, I am having a survival response from my childhood. The present situation is not an emergency. I am safe now. Step 3. Replace the pattern. This is the active, deliberate part. You consciously choose a tiny act of rebellion against the old rule. You say, I'm not sure what I want for dinner. Let's think about it together. Or I could use some ... help with this, or even just, I don't feel like making a decision right now. It feels terrifying at first, like stepping off a cliff, but it's in that small space of surrendered control that your authentic self begins to breathe again. You feel it making sense already, don't you? That the key isn't to become more efficient, but to become more present to the outdated software running in the background. Let's go deeper to our second weapon, which is perhaps the most counterintuitive of all, the weapon of sacred play. For the child who grew up too fast, play is not just frivolous. It feels dangerous, irresponsible, a regression into a state of vulnerability you were taught was unsafe. Your inner critic, the internalized voice of that old world, will scream that you are wasting time, that you should be productive, that this is childish nonsense. But here's the truth. Play is the antidote to premature adulthood. It is the neurological pathway back to spontaneity, curiosity, and joy, states your nervous system has walled off in the name of survival. Think of Liam, a 40-year-old lawyer who came to me describing a feeling of being encased in glass. He could see life happening around him, but he couldn't feel it, couldn't touch it. His childhood was a checklist of academic achievements and responsibilities, caring for his younger siblings while his parents worked nights. His life was all duty, no delight. His breakthrough came not on the therapist's couch, but in a pottery class he was dragged to by a friend. At first he was frustrated, his mind critiquing his lopsided bowls, comparing them to others, turning this too into a performance. But then, for just a moment, he lost himself in the slick, cool feel of the clay, in the spinning of the wheel, in the sheer, pointless joy of creation. He started crying right there in the studio. He wasn't crying about the clay. He was crying for the 8-year-old boy who was never allowed to just make a mess, to create something without a purpose, to fail without consequence. That was the crack in the glass. Pause. Notice what the word play brings up for you. Resistance? A longing? A blankness? Ask yourself this now. What did you love to do for the sheer joy of it, before the world told you it was a waste of time? This is how we wield this weapon. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. This is the feeling of guilt or anxiety that arises when you consider doing something purely for enjoyment. The voice that says, you should be working, cleaning, being productive. Step 2. Reframe the story. The old story is, play is a waste of time for responsible adults. The reframed, truer story is, play is a vital nutrient for my nervous system. It is a radical act of healing for the child inside me who was forced to be too serious. Step 3. Replace the pattern. You schedule it. You put 15 minutes of pointless joy in your budget. Calendar. It could be blowing bubbles, doodling, dancing in your living room, building a pillow fort, playing with a pet. The activity is less important than the intention behind it. To do something with no goal, no outcome, no measure of success. It will feel silly. That's the point. You are reintroducing silliness to a system that had to exile it to survive. You're starting to see it now, how this isn't about adding more tasks to your life, but about changing the quality of the energy you bring to it. And this leads us directly to our third and most profound weapon, the weapon of vulnerable communication. For the child who parented their parents, communication was a one-way street. You became an expert at listening, at managing other people's emotions, at anticipating needs. But your own needs, your own messy, complicated, vulnerable feelings, they were locked in a vault, because to express them was to risk being a burden, to disrupt the fragile equilibrium you worked so hard to maintain. As an adult, this manifests as a deep loneliness within your relationships, a sense that people love the capable, strong, helpful version of you, but they don't truly know you, because you have never let them see the parts that are not strong, not capable, not helpful. You are loved for your function, not for your essence. Let me tell you about Sarah, a brilliant physician who could hold space for her patients' deepest fears, but would shut down completely when her wife wanted to talk about their relationship struggles. Any hint of conflict felt like a catastrophic failure on her part. She was the fixer, and if things were broken, it meant she was bad at her job. She would become cold, logical, and distant, which of course only amplified the conflict. She was protecting the little girl who had to mediate her parents' screaming matches, the one who believed if she was just smart enough, good enough, she could make the pain stop. Her healing began when, during a tense moment, instead of deploying her usual logical defenses, she took a shaky breath and said, "When we argue like this, I feel like that little girl again, trying to stop her parents from fighting, and I'm so scared I'm going to fail, and you'll leave me." She didn't try to solve the problem. She simply revealed the wound beneath it. The entire energy in the room shifted. Her wife's anger melted into compassion. For the first time, Sarah was communicating, not from her role, but from her heart. This is the power of vulnerable communication. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. This is the moment you feel yourself putting up walls, becoming defensive, or going silent when a conversation becomes emotionally charged, or your needs are involved. Step 2. Reframe the story. The old story is, my needs and feelings are a burden and will push people away. The reframed, truer story is, my vulnerability is the gateway to true intimacy. It allows others to love the real me. Step 3. Replace the pattern. Practice making I feel statements that expose the soft underbelly, not the fortified wall. Instead of, you're being unreasonable, try, I feel scared when your voice gets loud. Instead of, it's fine, I'll handle it, try, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I could really use a hug. It will feel like learning a new language. 1. Your soul has always known, but your survival mask forced you to forget. You felt this before, haven't you? The ache of being so close to someone, yet feeling a million miles away? This is the bridge back, and this bridge leads us to our final integrating weapon, the one that ties all the others together, the weapon of reparenting. This is the conscious, loving process of becoming the parent you needed to your own inner child. It's the active, daily practice of the psychology of a child who grew up too fast, psychology fix, where you end the pattern of self-abandonment and begin the journey of profound self-ownership. You see, that hurried child is not a ghost to be exorcised. They are a part of you that is frozen in time, still waiting for the safety, validation, and unconditional love they never received. They are the source of your triggers, your hypervigilance, your deep fatigue, and they are also the source of your profound resilience, your deep empathy, your fierce loyalty. Reparenting is about integrating them, not erasing them. It's about bringing that child out of the storm cellar and into the warm, safe kitchen of your adult consciousness. Imagine David, a man in his 50s, who had built a successful business, but could never shake a pervasive sense of being an imposter, a fraud who was about to be discovered. He drove himself relentlessly, believing that if he just worked harder, he could finally feel like he'd earned his place. In our work, he discovered this was the echo of a childhood where love was transactional. Good grades earned praise, a mistake earned cold withdrawal. His inner child was constantly hustling for his worth. David's reparenting began with a simple daily ritual. Every morning, instead of jumping on emails, he would spend 5 minutes with his hand on his heart, and he would say to that young part of himself, "Good morning. You don't have to do anything to be loved today. I'm proud of you just for being you." At first, it felt absurd. Then it made him cry. Then, slowly, it began to feel true. He started noticing when that driven, frantic energy would arise, and he would internally say, "I see you. You're trying to protect us. Thank you. But I've got this now. You can rest." He was learning to end the psychology of a child who grew up too fast pattern tonight. Not through force, but through profound, gentle leadership of his own inner world. This is the essence of reparenting. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. This is any moment you feel that old, familiar pressure, the need to perform, to please, to prove yourself, or the flip side, the urge to collapse in helplessness. Step 2. Reframe the story. The old story is, "I am not enough, and I must constantly prove that I am." The reframed, truer story is, "A young part of me is activated and feels unsafe. My adult self is here now, and I am more than enough." Step 3. Replace the pattern. You actively engage in a reparenting dialogue or action. This can be verbal, like David's morning ritual. It can be physical, wrapping yourself in a blanket, making yourself a warm meal, going for a walk in nature. It can be setting a kind but firm boundary, saying no to an extra project, not because you're lazy, but because you are consciously choosing to protect your inner child from overwork. You are learning to attune to your own needs with the same exquisite attention you once paid to everyone else's. And as you practice this, a profound integration begins to occur. The chasm between the competent adult and the terrified child starts to close. You begin to make decisions not from a place of fear, but from a place of aligned desire. You discover that your sensitivity, your depth of feeling, your ability to hold space, all the traits you developed as survival mechanisms, are actually your greatest superpowers when they are no longer shackled to the trauma of the past. They become the foundation of your empathy, your creativity, your authentic connection with others. The grief doesn't disappear, but it transforms. It is no longer a gaping wound, but a sacred remembrance, a connection to the resilience of the child you were. You can honor that child without being ruled by them. You can feel the sadness for what was lost while simultaneously building a present that is rich with the very things that were missing: play, vulnerability, rest, and unconditional self-regard. The fortress you built begins to feel less like a prison and more like a home you can freely leave and enter, with windows open to the world, allowing life to flow in and out. The feeling of being an imposter, of waiting to be found out, begins to fade because you are no longer pretending to be someone you're not. You are finally, fully becoming who you always were beneath the armor. This is the journey from a life of reaction to a life of intention, from surviving to thriving. It's not about erasing your past, but about alchemizing it into fuel for a future written by your authentic self. You are not broken. You were adapted, and now you are evolving. So take a breath, right here, right now. Feel the weight of your body in your chair, the air moving in and out of your lungs. This is you, here, in the present. The past is a story. The future is a possibility. This moment, this breath, is your point of power. And you are no longer that child, alone in the storm. You are the adult who has finally come home to them.